What I saw going to 112 countries is how important it is that we function in the United States, because people look to us. Our system has been the beacon for so many years. Like you were talking about before, guess what? People want to come here because they think they'll be safe, they'll have an opportunity. We have to manage it. That's why we need comprehensive immigration reform, which is something that
but it's our expectation.
All right, folks, welcome to Gimme 5. Hillary Clinton with Jon Stewart, and talking about her role as Secretary of State, talking about foreign policy. You know, there are a lot of jokes in between because that's Jon Stewart. But very interesting. First of all, comprehensive immigration reform. This fallacy that if we pass comprehensive immigration reform, all our problems would be solved. In fact, in my view, it would open up the Pandora's box for our problems to just begin. But that's not going to solve what's going on at the border now. That's not going to solve that at all, even if it was passed tomorrow. We have laws on the books now the president won't enforce. So why would we expect him to enforce new laws that are passed? But here's more.
That's really why this book is something that I put my heart and soul into, because we can't practice diplomacy and define our foreign policy as leaders talking to leaders anymore, because that's not the way the world works. Exactly as you said. People are empowered from the bottom up.
He was talking about social media. People are empowered from the bottom up. So we can't conduct our foreign policy as leaders talking to leaders anymore? Really? Really? When the Green Movement took fold in Iran and they begged for Obama's support, a democratic movement in Iran, this president ignored them. Okay? That's the bottom up. And now all of a sudden we can't talk leader to leader? Really? That's going to be some radical change in foreign policy, let me tell you. Watch.
And what I found when I became Secretary of State is that so many people in the world, especially young people, they had no memory of the United States liberating Europe and Asia, beating the Nazis, fighting the Cold War and winning. That was just ancient history. They didn't know the sacrifices that we had made and the values that motivated us to do it. Right. We have not been telling our story very well. We do have a great story. We are not perfect by any means, but we have a great story about human freedom, human rights, human opportunity, and let's get back to telling it to ourselves first and foremost, and believing it about ourselves, and then taking that around the world. That's what we should be standing for.
Is that a shot at Obama? That lots of countries are exceptional? Lots of people think they're exceptional? Kerry, I'm uncomfortable with American exceptionalism, talking about American exceptionalism. A president who apologizes for America all over the world. Could Hillary be separating herself right there from Obama on the issue of American exceptionalism? I hope so. Next.
We did a much better job telling the world who we were back in the Cold War. It was a simpler job, to be fair. We had the Soviet Union, we had the United States. We had a big information effort. We sent talent. We sent all kinds of poets and novelists and rock stars. I remember when Václav Havel, the great dissident and the first president of the Czech Republic, told me that Lou Reed had been his inspiration. American culture, American ideas permeated the world.
Pavel took a walk on the wild side? He said, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side." Anyway, Lou Reed. All right, what can I tell you? One more from Hillary on the way we now should be conducting our foreign policy and getting the message out.
We withdrew from the information arena. And look at what happened initially with Ukraine. Russian media was much more effective in sort of telling the story. It wasn't true, but they kept repeating it over and over again. So I think we have to get back to a consensus in our own country about who we are, what we stand for, and then get out there and, tell that story.
Agree. But what Hillary thinks we stand for, what Hillary thinks of as who we are, don't forget, she lumped us in with countries that don't give women all those rights when the Hobby Lobby decision came down. So I think Hillary's vision of who we are and what we stand for is a lot different than what you or I may think. On the Steve Malzberg Show.